Well, this person bought the Planet Earth box set and he gave it 1 star.
What?
Yeah, these animals suck. They weren't doing it. It was so scripted, you know. I know,
honestly, snow
that
leopard.
fucking, you know, that fucking snow leopard was it was in a nice hotel every night.
I've seen the snow leopard and other stuff. I've seen the snow leopard and other stuff.
Ain't nobody put together a bike, nary a bike on here. Nothing going on.
Humans are animals.
Yeah.
Well, he says not as advertised. This is being reviewed as a 1 star because the product is advertised as being narrated by Sigourney Weaver, but the product I received is narrated by David Attenborough.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Yeah, you're like, how could you ever be mad about David Attenborough? Like, even if you're
The
like,
most
oh, I
pleasant
was
man. The most
yeah, like I
pleasant
was
man in
expecting
human history.
Sigourney Weaver. Like, as soon as you hear it, you'd have to be like, oh, well, this is better than anybody else ever narrating anything, right?
No, he said, apparently my quest to find planet Earth narrated by Sigourney Weaver continues. So, bringing down the Amazon score of planet Earth because he wants the Sigourney Weaver version.
There is
the most
no Dana, only David Attenborough.
He's kind of David Attenborough, though. I listened to his like the dinosaurs one, and he's kind of old now. And so his mouth kind of like makes like old mouth noises and stuff. And it does make it a little harder to listen to, I will admit.
Well, I was mad at the oceans episode of Planet Earth because it didn't show any of these amazing sea creatures being trawled up in a giant net and then separated from their heads by the staff of the Cornelia Marie or Time Bandit.
Well, Ohio, which I'm assuming is a guy from Ohio, replies, he gives it 2 stars. And he says, get the BBC version, not this one. And he says, this is a heavily edited version narrated by Sigourney Weaver that was shown on the Discovery Channel.
Okay, wait. We got a guy you should send a message to. To make some money, brother.
Yeah, you guys could make a trade here. And he goes, and it was shown on the Discovery Channel in the US. It doesn't hold a candle to the original BBC version narrated by David Attenborough. It has awkward pauses for commercials, parentheses, that obviously aren't there, and a huge amount of missing footage. Plus, Miss Weaver doesn't have nearly the gravitas as narrator Mr. Attenborough. Make sure you get the other version. So 60 people found that helpful.
Yeah, I think that is a good idea. If you're ordering it, get the original full version of it with the original narrator is the best way to go, probably.
I think getting the Sigourney Weaver one's probably more up my alley, actually.
Just because you'd be like, it's from the movies or whatever. It'd be kind of cool.
Alien.
Aliens.
Every time she talks, you're just reminded of her movies.
Totally. Which are alien? A guy like Bryan, alien.
Well, Mythbusters Collection 3, and yes, that's a flub, and people will be sending you Mythbuster. Collection 3 was reviewed by Michael R. Hansen. Now, keep in mind, this is a DVD that he bought. And he goes, 1 star. Can't stand this series. This series is all Hollywood. It claims to have scientific and engineering principles, and then it tries something once, and ta-da, it's proven. In real life, you need to repeatedly demonstrate your conclusion. But then what?
Yeah, that would be a great TV series.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, thanks for your input.
But then what should you expect from a series where an explosion is more important than scientific processes? I just pity the kids who watch this and think this is how real engineers and scientists work.
Yeah, I'd love to see a show busting the myth of the tensile strength of this 12 gauge steel nut or something.
Yeah. Why don't they show any of any of the paperwork that goes into like getting the stuff to do the myth busting? It'd be cool to see like some of the requisition forms and just see how the whole thing comes together.
Well, the next one I got is a Man vs. Wild DVD, which is the reviews of this Man vs. Wild DVD are wonderful because, as I said, they're pretty mad about the hotels. But I thought I would read a 5-star review first. He goes, it says mountain poling, and I don't know what that means. He goes, this show indicates the human capacity to survive failed attempts, good and bad. It's impossible to read. And he goes, watch the Baja Desert Bee, decisions with their consequences. Mr. Grills lives his adventure in front of us through attempts that fail and attempts that work. Mr. Grills shares his perceptions, pulling us into him, into the screen. Watch the Deep South. Apart from eating very peculiar things, anybody with any common sense will eat the closest thing to what they're used to. And he goes, not having initiative is the greatest killer out in the world. All other survival shows on DVD promote too much passivity. And some you can watch the man breaking down while he's having the least initiative possible.
You ever watch that show Alone? You ever watch that?
Oh yeah, that show is great.
People break down on there all the time. They're crying
All the
and stuff.
time. And the other, Naked and Afraid. That's another
Yeah.
like hotel room Discovery Channel standby.
Yeah, that's good.
Do these
I
guys
like
have any initiative though?
I love.
Yeah.
Well, if you a lack of when your plane has crashed in the Amazon jungle, the most important thing is maintaining your sense of initiative.
Yeah. Well,
It's just on Naked and Afraid. I don't know if you watch that one, but and, like every episode is the same. They get a man and a woman, strip them naked, and send them into like a swamp or something like that. And the funniest thing is that like at the beginning of every episode, like they're talking to the man and the woman, and like invariably the guy at the very beginning of the show will always make some comment about like, well, I'm married, but like
Lucky me.
there are certain involuntary bodily reactions that I may be subject. I hope it doesn't make anything awkward, or I hope there's some chemistry here. And then within 5 minutes of them embarking on this like ordeal of like 2 weeks of survival, like they're covered in 1,000 mosquito bites, and like being horny is like the farthest it's been.
Yeah.
Everything other than hunger and fear has just been drained out of you immediately.
I haven't watched it. I think I may have only seen like one episode. Here's one that gave it 5 stars, and he said,
I got blur out the good bits.
They do, unfortunately.
You can get the
Kind
unredacted versions on Blu-ray, I hope.
No, actually, I went looking. I went looking.
Pervert.
What the heck, man?
Yeah, I went looking, and I found people that were pretty mad that you can't get the naked, that you can't get it uncensored. I posted on Twitter actually that there was a person that was like, "Hey, do you know of any place where I can get the
rush?" But
I mean that is like obviously the people are going on it. They're like, okay, we'll go on it, but we're not going to show our like naked body. So they obviously don't agree to it, and these guys are just like, no, I should be able to fucking see the titties, man. I should be able to see
like, what are you looking for? Like,
yeah, go look at pornos, man, or whatever.
I know. That's how I felt too. Here's Glenn Castleberry, who I admire quite a bit. He goes, I've got all these DVDs and record the newest shows that's not out yet. In other words, I really enjoy the show, LOL. I love the outdoors. I read some reviews saying he's a fake and the stuff is set up, but you've got to remember, he's just showing what is possible if everything has gone wrong. I've learned quite a lot from him. Now, climbing rocks, cliffs, going into dangerous caves, jumping into freezing water, LOL. Well, most folks aren't going to take those chances. People, it's entertainment. Take it for what it is. I really enjoy Survivor Man also, but Bear really does know his stuff. So here's a 1-star review for you guys. Bear Grylls has a somewhat entertaining show, but it is completely worthless from a survival standpoint. I do not like the title Man vs. Wild. There are enough people going against the natural world already. That title gives me
yeah. It's divisive. It's divisive.
He says that title. He says that title gives nature a bad name, like it's something you must fight against.
Well,
sometimes
if you find yourself without food or shelter, I think you'll find that it is something that you must.
Big giant bear is
kill.
attacking you, then yes, you have to fight against nature.
Hey, here's one for the Discovery Channel. It's a new show. It's called Men vs. Wild, and it's about Congress.
Oh,
and cutting regulations for the EPA.
We usually don't get political on here, but that is something we can all agree on. That's bipartisan issue. We all agree Congress, bunch of damn clowns, ain't doing shit.
And if Man and Wild were in Congress, they wouldn't ever be able to get along. So the Man is admitted to staging scenes of the show and staying in hotel rooms. To me, that discredits almost anything he has to say about natural living. If you're only interested in entertainment, then this show deserves to be about 3 stars. Okay.
I mean,
however,
like, that's the thing about like all these like Men vs. Wild or Survivor Man or Naked and Afraid. Like, people watch these shows like just like, I don't know, like taking notes about like, oh, I'm gonna remember this when I'm in this situation.
Yeah.
And like I got like like understanding theoretically that you need to build a fire is like a long fucking sight from like actually using wood and sticks to like start an ember. Like it, like how hard that is. Like,
From what I've gathered,
like none of
it
this shit is
sucks.
gonna help you. Like, you don't need to worry about how authentic it is.
Yeah.
Hey,
You find
going out
yourself in
into
that situation, you will die. Don't
Yeah.
worry about it. It's not gonna happen.
You can't just watch a couple episodes of Man versus Wild. You're like going out on like a serious outdoor excursion. You
They
just
do
watch
that.
the show.
They get on that show Alone, and it's like some guy who's like, yeah, I'm a security guard, ex-Marine, and then he gets on the thing. He's like, I hope I don't fucking pop a boner walking around you all day long. And then like it's like day 3, and like he's like, I just miss my fucking family so much. I'm about to call it, and he's like reaching for the satellite phone and shit.
Well, like on Alone, it's always the guys who are like cops or military guys that like they bug out like in the first like couple days because they're like, I signed up to be a predator, not prey.
Yeah.
I kinetically ascertain the wolf situation and realize that I could not call for backup, and it's just like
You need to
it's
keep
same thing on
moving. You
Naked and
sit down,
Afraid,
you're
like-
dead.
yeah. They have guys who are like former Marines and stuff, and they pair them up with some like hippie chick who's like a surfer in San
Yeah.
Diego or something. And it's always the woman that does better. Because like these guys think like when you're there without all like the 60 pounds of kit that the military gives you, it's like you're really like all the skills you think you have go out the fucking window.
Yeah, it is funny that like there are actual people who are like consuming the entire run of Man versus Wild who think that like if they're in a plane crash and they live, like I'll be fine. It's like the same thing happening with like them thinking that about Yellow Jackets.
Yeah.
It's like I sat down and watched Yellow Jackets and I think I can handle it. Got some bad news about Deadliest Catch on DVD. DFB gave it 1 star, and he goes, 1 episode was good. 2 is just more of the same. It's just not enough.
Yeah. Did they ever catch anything different?
Yeah,
Crab.
I was wondering if they're gonna go on land at any point. It was getting real repetitive with the water and the boat. That's a great review.
He says it's just not enough here to create a whole series. So he has decided that there isn't enough there. But I got a 5-star review from Scooter where he said CD came pretty quickly. Box they came in was in good shape. Used to watch show Sundays before bed. Show's been out 10 years. Figured I didn't see year 1. Guess I did now. I've watched them sober, but still okay.
That's a cool
like,
story. That's a cool story. Like, so sounds like the Scooter's doing better. Shout out,
Yeah,
Scooter.
I think the common denominator here is that like they have identified like a real trend, which is like the like the dumbing down of everything, and the shift from like these cable channels that were like ostensibly at one point about like having some educational value into just like full on hot slop for the hogs.
Yeah.
But I really think all these people were dramatically overestimating how educational and intelligent the content that they were seeing before was.